You're 40, at the window with a coffee going cold in your hand, watching a tow truck slowly drag your brother's car backwards out of his driveway. It's the third car he's lost in 10 years, and he's not even awake to see it go. That same morning, you sign the last page on a document for a paid-off home. Your home is now finally and completely yours. You sign it all alone. This takes feeling bad for your brother down a notch. Two brothers work the same job for near enough the same money. One ends up owning a home, one ends up having his car towed. It all comes down to depreciation. Depreciation is the only kind of theft that never trips an alarm. A robber takes your money all at once, loud enough to report. Depreciation takes it a little at a time, while you stand in the driveway admiring the paint. But let's go back to another driveway, where this all started.
You are 9.
A truck you don't recognize reverses into your dad's driveway. Two men he won't make eye contact with start winching his car onto the back. Your dad had bought an expensive car he couldn't afford, so the street would know he'd made it. And now the street is finding out he hadn't. The bloke next door waters a lawn that doesn't need watering. It feels like the whole street is watching. You're at the window. So is Danny. He's 12. His hand is on your shoulder, and you feel it go tight. Danny decides that whatever it costs, he'll never be the family on the driveway. He'll always look like he's winning. You decide you'll never be caught needing anything. You'll never let the money out where it can hurt you. You'll keep your head down. At that window, the two of you just chose the next 30 years. You'd each spend them running from that same morning.
You are 24.
You're on a used car lot on a Saturday. The salesman steers you toward a fancy red car that your dad would have bought. You put your hand on a plain grey sedan with a scuff on the bumper instead. This car won't turn a single head. You pay for it in cash. That night you work out that the gap between the grey car and the shiny one you didn't buy is 20 grand. You take that 20 grand and put it somewhere boring, somewhere it can grow. You write the number 20,000 on the back of an envelope and put it in the drawer. Lying in bed that night, you talk yourself through it one more time. You know you made the right call. The grey car gets you everywhere the other one would. For a third of the money, this is what smart looks like. But it's late, so you let yourself be honest. You'd have loved to be the kind of person who could buy the fancy car and never think about it again. The thrill of a new car fades before you're even out of the lot. The money you don't spend on it is the only part that ever stays.
You are 27.
3 years on, the envelope's already been crossed out once. 20 grand became 24 and a half, and you didn't lift a finger to do it. Then Danny swings into the car park beside you in a brand new car with the dealer plate still on, and he steps out like he's walking onto a stage. He clocks your grey sedan with a worried smile.
You all right, man? I mean, money-wise, you good?
What gets you isn't the car. It's that Danny isn't scared. You stood at the same window as kids, watching the same truck in the same driveway. And somehow, he walked out of that morning, able to spend big, spin the keys, and sleep like a baby. Did he not learn the lesson? Or did he learn a better one than you did? You truly want Danny to be happy. And if he really is, then you should be glad. But if Danny can have both the freedom to spend his money and the joy from spending it, then what does that make you? Did you forget to live a little? From the outside, flying and drowning look exactly the same. You'll spend years trying to work out which one Danny is doing. You'd rather be rich than look rich. A shiny car with a sinking feeling behind every payment is a worse deal than a plain car and a full drawer. So you let him have the win and drive home with a secret worth $24,000. From the second Danny drives it off the lot, his car starts losing value. A fifth of it disappears in the first year. That's 6 or 7 grand. The car just sits in his driveway, looking like the best decision he ever made. Nobody's wiped out by the losses they can see. It's the slow ones you get used to that empty you out.
You are 37.
The grey sedan has run for 13 years straight. There was a time that felt like winning. Now it's just an old tired car driven by a tired you. Danny's on his newest car yet. Some nights you wonder if all those no's were worth it. When the grey car finally needs real work, 13 years in, you take it to the mechanic. You tell him how long you've had it, and he stops.
My old man drove one car for 19, Bought it outright, never traded up. Put me through uni on the money he didn't spend on new ones. Everyone reckoned he was tight. He wasn't tight, he was free.
The first thing you feel is that you were right. The number grew while everyone doubted you. So why does it sit so wrong? It feels like you paid for it with something you never got back, and you can't even name what it was. That night you dig the soft-worn envelope out, the number's up to $48,000, and it started as 20 grand you never touched. It doubled roughly every 10 years while you weren't looking. Leave it alone, and it becomes 100 grand by 50, then 200 by 60. All of that happens while you do nothing. You were right about the money. The maths that proved it still can't tell you whether being right was worth what it cost.
You are 39.
2 years later, Danny knocks on your door. He sits on your couch holding a coffee you made him, and for the first time in his life, actually asks how you did it. Then he tells you what he owes. There's the car finance, the credit cards, and a watch that costs more than your first car. Your envelope says $55,000 and climbing. Danny's whole ledger is minus signs. For 15 years, you'd half hoped you were wrong, that Danny really could afford it, that one of you had got out clean. Now you know he didn't. You did. This is the moment you've been waiting for. You brace for it.
You know all those years you said no? The trips, my 30th. In the end, we just stopped asking. We thought you didn't like us. We thought you'd outgrown us.
That's the real bill you've been running for 15 years and never once saw. Every time you said no, you dressed it up as being busy. Your whole family filed it as rejection. You tell him the truth about the fear, the envelope, and the sums you ran at every dinner. You tell him about Dad and the driveway, and the promise you made at 9 that you'd never stand there. You got so afraid of spending that you called the fear discipline, and you let it become your whole personality. Danny sits with that for a second.
Mate, we never needed you to pay for anything. You could have walked. You could have come on the bus. We just needed you there.
Danny spent everything he had making sure the world could see him win. You spent everything making sure it could never see you at all. He went broke. You went missing. It was the same fear. You just picked different places to hide. It was never about cars. It was about the two of you, and one fear that split in two on a driveway 30 years ago. Danny's half said spend so no one ever sees you struggle. Yours said hide so no one ever sees you at all. It all comes down to the flinch. It's the half second before you spend, when the fear does its sums on the people you love. Once, that's caution. 10,000 times over 30 years, that flinch stops being a budget and becomes who you are. Go back to that first morning. You're 40, signing the last page on the home that's now finally and completely yours. Nobody's ever towing it away. And there's not one person you thought to call, because over 15 years of no, you taught every last one of them to stop asking. Across town, your brother's car is going up onto a flatbed. He's at the bottom again, in the exact place the two of you swore you'd never end up. This time you put the pen down and you pick up the phone. You're not calling to fix his money. You can't. And he never asked you to. You're calling to be the brother who shows up, on the bus if that's what it takes. The only people who ever cared where you parked were the ones who loved you, right up until you taught them to stop. So when you almost skip the next thing because it costs $20, don't. Show up. You being there was the only thing anyone ever needed you for.